interactive Bible class for kids, especially hyper kids that cannot sit still. This is perfect. I rotate between a lot of different things. These are whiteboards. Sometimes we'll use Silly Putty, Play-Doh. I have fluffy foam, so it's not quite slime, but kinda. Kids love it. And then I even use kinetic sand. Sometimes this gets a little messy, but overall, when you tell them keep it over your container, over your tray, they do pretty well. I have other little things that we use to play foam. I don't have a sample of that here. It's all at my church building, but that's another one that they love, and I'll try to provide a link so that you know what I'm talking about. But it's little micro beads of foam, different colors, and it molds a lot like Play-Doh would. Anyway, kids love it. So how do I do this, and what am I talking about? It's really easy. You can take any Bible lesson, any scripture. I went ahead and just pulled up Genesis 1:1, very beginning of the Bible, so it's super easy. And I'm going to show you with just a couple of verses what I do. So the first thing that we're doing is passing out one item. We'll start with the whiteboard. Kids love the whiteboard. And we'll read. So Genesis 1:1, we are reading the Old Testament. God created the sky and the earth. At first, the earth was completely empty. There's nothing on earth. Darkness covered the ocean, and God's Spirit moved over the water. Then God said, "Let there be light." And light began to shine. He saw the light. He knew that it was good. Then he separated the light from the darkness. He called the light day, and the darkness he called night. There was evening, and there was morning. That was the first day. So now we'll stop. And the kids have, I usually give my classes 30 seconds. And I set the timer on my phone. And that way they hear it. But they get 30 seconds to draw or create something from what I just read. Now the younger classes, like kindergarten and first grade, I will actually tell them, okay, so that is day one. Let's make the number one. And they will make the number one. And then what did God create on day one? Light. Let's make a light bulb. Because he didn't make the sun yet. He just made light. So we're going to make a light bulb. And then you can make fun of your light bulb. That way they don't feel so bad when their picture doesn't look perfect. So day one, God made light. 30 seconds. For your older kids, you tell them you have 30 seconds to draw something that describes what I just read. And now they're thinking in their mind, they have to process. And they remember the story and the lesson much better that way. But again, the younger kids don't quite get it. Then they erase and we go on to the next set. And if you keep it moving and keep with the 30 seconds, you have no problem at all. And they're constantly doing something, so they're focused. Now let's go on to the next one, and we'll go ahead and just use Play-Doh because it's common and very inexpensive. I like to buy the party Play-Dohs because they're the little sizes. They're perfect for the kids. We've got, then God said, let there be space to separate the waters into two parts. So God made a space and separated the water. Some of the water was above it, and some of the water was below it. God named that space sky. There was evening, and there was morning, and that was the second day. So now they have 30 seconds. And on this one, you can go a couple of different routes with the younger kids. You can have them make a day number 2 for day 2, or they could do both. There's my number 2. And then the second piece is what did God make? Well, you can help them to understand if He separated the waters into parts. Day 2 is when He made the sky. He made the clouds. So let's make a cloud. You can kind of walk them through it as you go, or clouds they can typically make. They'll do it in all different ways. Some will make them 3D. I'm just going to kind of make my little cloud floating in the sky. And I typically will go along and do it with them so that if they have trouble, they don't know what to do, they just follow along with what I'm doing. And that's really all there is to it. Again, they stay focused, they're hands-on, they're doing something, and believe it or not, they retain this information so well. I actually have parents in some of my classes with kids that are ADHD, and diagnosed probably, some of them, whose parents have come to me and said they'll be very worried. And they'll tell me, I know my child's really hyper, I'm sorry, he has trouble focusing, and I will tell them, I really don't have any problems in my class. Yeah, they're a little more hyper than the others, but they focus, they follow along, they participate, and they're so smart. They answer all my questions, and the parents are shocked. And then I get all kinds of thank yous because the parents, they appreciate it, they see that their kids are learning, and they don't have to worry about their kid being misbehaving at church in front of their friends. And it gives them a sense of peace, and they're excited and feel comfortable coming to Bible class. So, like I said, I'll put some links to where you can get all these things. A lot of it's actually on my website, all my popular tools and resources, because I use them all the time. And again, it works for any scripture in the Bible. You just read a little passage, give them 30 seconds, and let them create. If you don't have anything in particular to create from it, but you're talking about like King Nebuchadnezzar, you introduce him, we'll make a king's crown. Make an inn for Nebuchadnezzar, and make them repeat Nebuchadnezzar's name several times. So in Nebuchadnezzar, that way when they leave, they know who they talked about. I think that's a pretty, I think that pretty well covers what's going on. If you have any questions, definitely let me know, and I hope this helps.